we doing? So you joined me in flight, and we're almost at top of descent. So let's have a look. Let me just set the stream up properly. There's that in there. The flight we're doing is landing at Girona. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Which is Lima Echo Golf Echo. There we are. And let's get that and that. Well, I've probably missed my top of descent now, actually thinking about it. But not to worry, not to worry. We will figure it out somehow. I think I've long missed my top of drop, actually. Oh well. What can you do? I'll tell you what we can do. We can throttle back. And we can go out of altitude hold. We can take altitude off there. We can tilt the radars down. And then we can pitch the nose down. About something like that. We can see if there's a message. No, that's not it. No, not that one either.
Ladies and gentlemen, routing procedure that we do our cabin.
No, not doing that.
We do have an allocated departure time.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we're experiencing turbulence.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we have now commenced our descent, would you please
There we
return
go.
to your seat belts? Please ensure that your seat backs and tables are in the fully upright position for landing, and that your window blind is fully open. Passengers seated by the emergency exits are requested to clear this area of any loose articles.
So let's just increase our rate of descent to about 1800, 2000-ish, somewhere around there. And we are now descending. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough at the moment, so forgive me coughing and spluttering. So that's there like that. We're coming in nice. There's a bit of traffic, but they're going the other way, so that's not a problem. Awesome. I've got the charts up, and the weather is putting us on a runway 02. Now, there's only a single runway here, and the preferred is coming in the other way on 20, and there's an ILS on that. However, the winds are actually reasonably strong. There's 010 at 9 knots, so we're going to have to come in the other way. Let me just check the latest weather. 20 degrees 5 knots. See, we could actually take that tailwind and go for the ILS, but let's not. Let's stick with the a headwind landing. 5 knots isn't going to be the end of the world. But this thing doesn't stop overly quickly, shall we say, as you've probably seen from the other videos. Excuse me. So I've got the VOR keyed in. So the Girona VOR is 114.1. I also have the Girona NDB keyed in, actually on both sides here, which is 330. So I've got that on ADF on there, and then the Girona VOR when we actually oh, we have picked up, but we just haven't picked up the NDB yet. That's fine. So we'll worry about that there. So the flight plan, the INS is drifty, is going to take us over the top of Girona. And at that point we then turn left, heading 180 due south. We fly out to 14 DME, and then we commence a right turn to then intersect the localizer on a course of 015, which is the runway heading. So I'm just getting that ready. I'm just slightly worried about our nav accuracy, but we're nearly at the Girona VOR actually. So if I flick that to 5, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll key in a DME update for Girona, which is north 41 55.5 and east 2 46.2. Insert waypoint change 5. Might not pick it up yet if we've not got the DME. Oh, we have. Yes, it's picked it up. Right, good. So that will sort out the nav accuracy issue. So that should start coming down now. Have a look at some of my other videos for use of the CVOR INS, which is that navigational tool up here. Coffee. So we are descending. We're not descending overly quickly, I might add. So let's bring the throttle back a bit more, and let's drop the nose a bit more. So two things there. Obviously we don't have VNAV in this aircraft. Reducing the speed means that we don't get there before we finish descending, and obviously dropping the nose will increase the rate of descent. So if we descend at with a airspeed of 200 knots, obviously it's going to give us a lot longer to descend. Excuse me. Oh, dearie me. So 55 miles according to DME there. So we've got that keyed in. We've got it keyed into both. Not that we need it keyed into both. You're getting walloped. Why is he getting walloped? .3071. Where's Ryanair 3071? He called final after someone called line up. So why? Oh, hurry up, move. Is he dawdling or something? Oh well, let's trigger them. Burn hammer! That's exactly what Unicom is for. Excellent, so nav accuracy is getting better. We are slowing down. Yes, we're doing good on that. We're descending nicely. We're not, although we're not coming down nearly quick enough, but we'll see what happens. So let's have a look at the charts. Let's put center screen on. There we go. So it's the VOR approach for runway 02. So we will overfly Girona and then we will turn left heading 180. So we can see there's a little indicator there, 1. So that is this side note here. If we can maintain a maximum speed of 110 knots, we can actually turn to 190, which sort of puts us out here somewhere. So you can turn in tight. We're absolutely not capable of doing that whatsoever. So being big, heavy, fast aircraft, we are going to take 180 with a speed constraint of 220. So we'll fly due south up to DME 14 miles, and then we will turn right, standard rate right turn. And that's after we've descended, well, we should be 5,000 over Girona, and then at DME 14, 4,200, so that's a nice gentle descent there. Turn right, round to here, back to DME 8 at 2,500 feet, and then from there we've got a 3.4 degree descent angle, which is a little bit steeper than the norm. And we've got a whopping great big decision altitude as well to be wary of. DME required possible fluctuations of the Girona VOR signal. I assume that is likely due to reflections, radio reflections from nearby terrain. So we'll watch out for that as well. I'm not sure if it's even modelled, but it's only one way to find out, isn't there? So we are getting close. There's another aircraft ahead of us, Air Canada, but he's going to Barcelona, so he's going a little bit further on, so don't need to worry about him too much. We've still not picked up the Girona NDB yet. Have I even keyed it in right? 330 kilohertz. 330 kilohertz, 330. I'll tell you what, let's turn that off. That might help. No, it didn't. So we got the MDA keyed in there. MDH even, because we're using a radio altimeter. We're all looking good down here. Looking good over here. Seatbelt signs are on. I'll flick the packs and the galley power off when we actually start the approach procedures. It's a nice day. Let's open the blinds. That's all looking good. That's fine. Heaters are on. Anti-ice is on. It's 10 degrees, so it's pilot's decision, so we'll leave that on. That's on. Lights are off for the moment, which is fine. What's our transition out? Is 6,000. So we'll have transitioned before we hit the VOR if we can keep this descent rate going. Which actually, I think we're looking all right on that. I think we're all right. Got lucky. Pulling the speed back helped massively, and just having a slightly higher descent rate than I normally would. Let's have a look at the traffic. I love VATSIM when it just gets confused sometimes. Mind you, he might actually have his air brakes out. Yeah, he might well do. Maybe not quite that sharp. So let's have a look at us. Here we are again. Lovely Boeing 707. It's an absolutely stonkingly large aircraft. In fact, I found a really cool picture on Facebook, which was shared by Jetstream Radio this morning, which just gives you an idea how big this plane actually is. Here it is. Options, download. Let's do that because I don't want to give away my book face. And send screen. Look at that. How cool is that? That's a brilliant photo. So 7.0, 7.1, we know that's small. 7.2, that's old school. That's quite small as well. 7.3, not a lot bigger actually. 7.4 is massive. We know how big that one is. And the 7.5 is quite small. We know that. Slim. 7.6 is obviously the fatter bodied version. 777, which is a big aircraft, you know, it's still dwarfed by the 7.4. and the 7.4 getting pretty dwarfed by the 7.0 actually. If you look at it, I mean, compare the wingspans, they're probably reasonably similar, but it's just a beast, the 707, absolute beast. There it is in all its glory. Have a look at my other videos where we talked about all the little artifacts on the wing, these little vortex generators, if we can zoom in. These little tabs here and what they do and why we need them. If you're into all that sort of aerodynamicsy stuff, then you know, do check out those other videos. Usual thing, like and subscribe and all that jazz. We need to increase our rate of descent and pull our speed back because we aren't going to make the 5,000. I've got a pos rep for BA. That's done. So that is Girona off the nose down there. So that's where we're landing. We're coming in, or we'll be landing the other way. But we do need to think about getting the speed back. So I'm going to pull throttle right back and put out a little bit of lever of shame. Can we even see the wing from here? Probably not. If I clip through there a little bit. There we go. We can see the lever of shame out. So we're almost atop here, and when we do, when the NDB drops over, which is there, sorry, the VOR falls over, I'm gonna quickly spin this round. Don't want to go that way, don't want to go that way, don't want to go that way, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go, and I'm just going to give it a couple more degrees to account for the fact that we just gone balls that up. Oh, in fact, there's the air. Is that the airfield there? It is, yeah. So as long as we go over that and then vector out, touch more than 180, because the VOR isn't actually on the airfield. It is this side of the runway in line with it. Do we have any traffic coming into Girona? No, we do not, so that's fine there. So the speed's coming back now. That's plan G, saying we're approaching Girona. So we're going to go out to 14 DME, so there we go, we've picked up the VOR again. Excuse me, dearie me. And we'll be doing a manual approach. Awesome, okay, so that's coming along nicely. Speed's coming back, could do with a bit more lever of shame actually, because I want to get the flaps out nice and early. Quite important on these non-precision approaches to be fully configured quite early on actually. Because you don't want any big configuration changes when you're on your final, because it is non-precision, so you know the workload is high. You want to make sure you're lined up correctly, and that's harder to do when you're on just a VOR approach. This isn't even a localizer approach, it's a VOR approach. So what's the difference? Accuracy, that's all it is. VOR and a localizer, they're the same thing, except a localizer is much better precision, suffers less interference and so on and so forth. Right, so we want to be down at 4,200. Oh, so I've just overshot that. So our next altitude constraint is 2,500. That's fine. I'm happy braking. Braking that. Oh my god. Cough. In fact, I might just pull it up into out hold there at 3.2. That's all right. That's just a bit low to these hills. That's all. but they're still, so the one we're going over is 1,000 feet. We do need to be on local QNH, which is 1014. And we can start bringing the flap down now. And then bring up the throttle to account for the drag. And I'll take stage 2 flat now as well, which is 25 degrees. Approaching 14 miles here, so it's at 14 miles we start the turn. Excuse me, jeez. Seatbelt signs are on. Galley power can come off now, packs can come off. We need to give it a bit more juice. Oh, not quite at 14 miles yet. Whoa, 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 what's it doing? There's 14 miles, so we'll start this right hand standard turn. Again, I'm going to use the heading hold rather than use the turn coordinator at the top, just purely for laziness, I think. So we're coming round there, nice. I want my marker on. Oh, is that on or is that off? I don't know. Let's put it there, see what happens. We can see the hills here, right, so I'm going to start getting feet on pedals and the like. And so we're starting our turn, so we can start descending now down to 2,500. Got a speed restriction of 220, we're below that, so that's okay. I'll just bring that throttle back a smidge. And I can take gear down now actually, it's going slow enough for the gear to drop. And we're just waiting for that local VOR, should I say, to come in. And then we'll have to go into lock VOR. There's the airfield there, so I'm visual now actually, so I can just manually tune this. Take the next stage of flat. Should help bring the nose down. So that's 40 degrees. We'll get 50 when we're on final, because that's the drag flap really. Flick to VOR, we've got a VOR lock, which is good. Now I've got to watch this wiggle now, because what it's going to want to do is it's going to want to weave either side of the radial. So there's 2,500, so out hold until 8 DME. And we're going to need a bit of throttle. Bit of throttle. Nose is getting a touch high for me. It's better, about 150 knots there. That's on the slow end of where I want to be. But we're looking good, we're looking good. Airport elevation is 469 feet, runway 403. So we're on the runway there. No, that's interesting. It's saying the radial's off to the right. So what we will do is we will disconnect that, and I'm gonna hand fly now. So there's an accuracy issue. So I'll leave the the nav one on here, look, and see how it's saying the runway's off to our right. Well, look out the window. It's not. It's off to our left. So there's a nice little inaccuracy for you there. So I'll take flat full now. Just bring the speed back a touch. Just get the trim sorted. Yeah, see now the flight director's having a fit at me, so I'm going to turn that off as well, because that's just going to bug me. So we're still off to the right, and the actual nav wants us to go further right, so let's not do that. Bit more throttle. Coming down here about 700 feet a minute, which is alright. We are high though, so let's just bring the nose down and reduce the throttle a smidge. Just fight that wind a touch, there we are. Wind was variable, 350 to 050, so that's quite a swing. Is right to left, although it doesn't seem to be pushing us over too much. We are still high, so I need to really pull this back, but this thing will drop if you want it to. This is demonstrated here by 1,000 feet per minute descent on short final. Not ideal. And the scenery's loaded, that's nice. So I found a freeware scenery on, I think it was flightsim.com for LEGE, LEGE for Girona. And that looks pretty good actually out the window. Just having a quick look as we come in here. So I'll get straightened up a smidge. And throttle back. Wheels down, speed brakes out, reverses and manual brakes, because we don't have any auto brakes. So brakes can come off, speed brakes can come up now, flaps can go all the way up. Those lights can come off now. And put the weather radar and the Doppler to standby so we don't start frying people. I'm just going to get clear of the runway here. And if I can multitask, flick those to standby as well. And the engines just throttle up again. Packs can come back on. Galley power can come back on. That can get reset. Transponder can come off. I'll do that through vPilot. There we go. And let's taxi to the terminal. No, we can go all the way down here, which is taxiway Tango, I think. It's Tango. It's got a number after it, but it changes. Let's call it Tango. So that wasn't a bad landing actually. I was quite chuffed with that. I like putting this thing down. You do get a bit of ground float on this, which isn't surprising given the size of the thing. It's just going a bit quick for me there. That's off. That's fine. That's off. Whoa! Where's he going that way? Oh my god! I'm so sorry about the coughing. I really am. M380, hello. Hello, sir. So that's Delta 7. That's good. That's not on the chart. Some dodgy Jepson chart I've got here. So what's this one? That's Delta 8. Well, that figures. Well, that's interesting because these are all labelled as Golf on the chart I've got. But rep. So I probably want to come in one of these actually. Where's the tower? That's the tower. I want to be the other side of the tower. And then we'll go round onto one of the big stands there. So we'll turn in here, which on my chart is Golf 4. Or it's Delta 4, so at least the numbers make sense. Let's just bring that speed back a smidge. There we are. And bring the throttle up a bit so we've got some power to get around the corner. And remember the length of this thing. And now if we go straight ahead, kinks left onto stand 1, but I don't think that's very big, so we want to go right and then immediately left, yeah, which I can see, which is stand 2. It looks like we'll have a bit more room there. So, lights off, so we don't blind the marshaller. I've already turned the weather radar off, so we're not going to fry him with a load of EM. Let's see how good my parking is today. It'd be great if I come in at flipping Mach 1 though. Jesus, let's slow that down a bit. Just holding that left toe brake, and I've overcompensated that. Keep going, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. Oh, that's not bad. Oh, a little overshoot. Not a disaster, not a disaster, we'll take that. Parking brake on. Okay, so we need some ground power and stuff, but before we do that, we need to go over onto, oh, we're on bus tile ready, so that's absolutely fine. So we kill the engine so we can take off the high load things first. Disarm the doors before I forget to do that. And we can key that in, go to external power there, which means I can cut the engines, turn off the bleeds. They can stay on because we've got external air. Awesome. on external power now, that's fine. So that means that these can come off. Turbo pumps can come off. That can come off. That can come off. They're the ones I always forget. Beacon light can come off now. That is off. Heaters can come off. INS can go off. Put the dome light on so we see what we're doing. That can now come off. The ADFs can come off. The cell anti-ice can come off, and the wing anti-ice can come off. And I do believe, oh, that can come off as well. Where the radar can come off. Navs can come off. Stabilizer lock can go in. And I do believe we're now parked. So let's get some doors open. And then we can see it in all its glory. Wheel chocks can go on as well. And there it is. Just wish my parking was a bit better, eh? No. I don't know why the caroling's open. That was weird. So there we are. Cheeky little landing. I'm heading off now. I'm not going to be streaming again today. I might do some PUBG later, but I'm heading off to go and watch some of the snooker now. So it's the start of the snooker today. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Comments, questions, queries below. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Share it as well. Landing rate was 202 feet a minute, and we still had 4 tons of fuel on board. So SimBrief's doing quite a good job actually at estimating fuel, since I keyed in the specs for this. Total flight 789 nautical miles, and 2 hours 20 minutes. So it was 21 minutes technically from Manchester, but I didn't stream the start. So yeah, until next time then, boys and girls, thanks for watching. Bye.